Hi and welcome to my April wrap-up. And now I'm going to talk about all the books that I read this April. I read about 6. I read 7 books and listened to 1 book, so 8 books in total. And I'll just make a mini review about each of them and tell what their story is about and what I thought of them. And I thought I would start with the book that I read first and then go in the order that I read them. So the book that I read for the longest time ago, and I just finished this like in the first few days of April, is The Martian by Andy Weir. I'll just show it to you here. And this copy is actually in Swedish because it was way cheaper to get it that way. Well, it's about this astronaut called Mark Watney that is left alone on Mars due to a sandstorm that forces his whole crew to evacuate the planet. And then he's forced to stay there and kind of try to stay alive until someone can rescue him. And I really liked that there was so many details. It felt like the author was very well educated in the subject. He knew or he invented things that would sustain life on Mars and how the whole habitat worked. So I really enjoyed that, and I also enjoyed the clever solutions to the problems, that they were very technology, there were no chance in them. He really had to think of new solutions all the time, so I absolutely loved it. And also, it was funny. It wasn't just... it was really funny. Mark Watney kind of kept his spirit alive. It was very nice. It was a book about space, but it was also very, very realistic. This could happen, and I think it's mostly due to the very intricate detailing that he put into the work about the technology and things. So I really, really loved it. I liked that it was very inspiring, and I just want to be an astronaut, even though maybe for Mark it wasn't the best experience ever. Yeah, I loved it. The next book that I read was the York Trilogy by Paul Auster, and this is a detective story that is actually 3 different stories taking place in New York about different detectives trying to solve different cases. And it's not the kind of detective case where it's a lot of murdering, a lot of action. It's basically just people stalking other people. And it seems like a pretty boring job actually to be a detective, and I did not expect that. But so it's quite different in that sense. I thought it was very, very slow, it didn't happen too much, and I wasn't satisfied by the ending of the stories. I felt like we didn't get anywhere. It was just we stopped the way we started. Maybe that's... some people might like it, that you can kind of make up your own ending, but I felt like I wanted to have answers and I didn't get them. So, I don't know, it was entertaining, but not the best book I've read. Next one is a bit of a classic. It's To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, and this follows a family and their friends when they are in their summer house, and it shows a lot of like the relationship inside the family, but also between their friends and the friends in the family, and how people can be viewed as really good ones and really bad ones. I enjoyed it. It was the first work from Virginia Woolf that I read, and I absolutely liked it. So I will definitely try to read more of them. Yeah, it was beautiful writing, and to be from the modern area, it's very typical stream of consciousness. We followed the thoughts of the guests and the mother in the house. And I also liked that it was very like idyllic and a happy place, and then towards the end it got a bit more darker, and how everything could change in just a few years. So yeah, absolutely enjoyed that book. Next one is The Dream of the Celt by Mario Vargas Llosa, and it's about a diplomat that goes to Congo and the Amazonas to see how the colonialism affected the populations there. It's rather educational, but still quite nice. It's like easygoing, and you can read it without being too bored and feel like it's a textbook. But I liked it still. It made me kind of think a bit more about the colonialism. It's a biographical novel, so it's about a real person, and I thought it was quite interesting. It was kind of slow, and the action that happened was actually always second-hand, so it's always someone else that experienced it and told it to the diplomat, as well as this whole thing is kind of a retelling in a sense. Yeah, it was interesting, but not the most entertaining book I've ever read. And after that I read Magnus Chase in the Sword of Summer. I did make a review of this, and I thought it was nice. It's a typical Rick Riordan book. It follows a teenager that finds out that one of his parents is a god, and like in the first few chapters of the book he finds out that, and he summons a sword from the bottom of a river, and he fights a fire giant, and he dies. And that's like in the first few chapters, so you kind of see how the rest of the book is going to progress. There's going to be a lot of action, a lot of things happening, and it was just really entertaining, and if you like Rick Riordan, you will definitely love this book. I read the Haruki Murakami series IQ84 in the second book. IQ84 is kind of hard to explain, but it's basically two people, a math teacher and an assassin, that has been put into a parallel world, and then their storylines kind of get intertwined and entangled, and there's also some involvement with magic, called the Little People, and a kind of cult. It's really intricate, but I think it's very entertaining. It didn't happen too much in this book. It was basically like explanation from the things that happened in the last book and kind of build up for the next book. So it's a typical middle book in the trilogy, but I still felt like it was fun, and it's more the characters, what they think about, how they reason about stuff, that I feel is the strength of this book. It's very beautiful. It has many like colorful descriptions, so you can really get pictures in your head about what's happening. So actually I really enjoyed it, but perhaps, yeah, I have one thing. It's a lot of sexual content, not for like religious pleasure, if you know what I mean, but it's made a big part of the story, especially sex between older men and young girls. So I feel like maybe that wasn't necessary. I didn't feel, it was maybe quite uncomfortable, but it was still stated that very clear that this is not okay. But it kind of kept happening many times, so I don't know, that's kind of what I have to complain, that and that it was low, but I'm still going to read the last book, of course. The last proper book that I read is, again, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and this is the illustrated copy, so it's illustrated by Jim Kay, and I read it for the illustrations this time. So you guys know Harry Potter. It's about Harry, who's 11 years old, and then he finds out that he's a wizard and is sent to a wizarding school. And this book it's one of my all-time favorites, so I was really happy when I received the illustrated copy for my birthday, and because I enjoyed the illustrations, it made me feel really good that we kind of could relive the Harry Potter universe and kind of reimagine the characters, because you kind of think of the movie characters when you think of them. So it made it more magical and really refreshing. I absolutely loved it. And then the last thing that I read, I listened to, and it's the BFJ by Roald Dahl. And it's a children's book. It's about a girl named Sophie, and she's an orphan. And one night she wakes up and she sees a giant from her window, and the giant sees her, so he kidnaps her. And the giant is called the BFJ. And there's going to be a movie about this, so that was kind of a part of the reason why I picked it up. But I really enjoyed it. I did, because I had only read it in Swedish when I was small, so now that I experienced it in English, for first thing, I'm older, so I understand more things, but also in English it's so much better, because a lot of the qualities of the story is the play of words, that words can have different meanings, and it comes out way better in English than what it does in when it's translated. So I was pleasantly surprised. I think I enjoyed it more this time than what I did when I was small. So absolutely loving that. That was all I read this April. Have you read anything good? Tell me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!